controversy surrounds the Europa League final after VAR admitted to a crucial error that influenced the outcome of the match between Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur. The final ended 1-0 in favour of Spurs, but a key decision leading to the goal has now been acknowledged as a mistake by the officiating body. When technology fails, the Europa League final that changed everything. Picture this: you've waited years, maybe even decades, for your team to lift a major trophy. The final whistle blows, confetti falls, and your players are celebrating. But then, hours later, you discover that the goal that decided everything came from a referee's mistake, one that technology was supposed to prevent. This isn't a nightmare scenario. It's exactly what happened when Tottenham Hotspur beat Manchester United 1-0 in the Europa League final at San Mamés Stadium in Bilbao. What should have been a straightforward celebration for Spurs fans has turned into one of football's most talked about controversies. The match that had everything. The Europa League final between these two English giants promised drama, and it delivered, just not in the way anyone expected. Tottenham walked away as champions, ending their long wait for major silverware. For a club that has often been the subject of jokes about their trophy cabinet, this victory represented something much bigger than just another piece of metal. But Manchester United didn't go down without a fight. Manager Ruben Amorim's post-match interview painted the picture of a team that felt they had done enough to win. "We were in control of the game, especially in the second half," he told TNT Sports, his voice carrying the weight of disappointment that every football fan knows too well. The Portuguese manager went on to explain how his team had started the match well, creating chances and dominating play. "We had clear chances to score, but we didn't score," he admitted, highlighting football's cruel truth: sometimes the better team doesn't win. When VAR becomes the villain. Here's where this story takes a turn that will be debated in pubs, living rooms, and social media for years to come. The video assistant referee system, introduced to eliminate controversial decisions and bring fairness to the game, has now admitted to making a crucial error that influenced the match outcome. Think about that for a moment. VAR was created specifically to catch the mistakes that human referees might miss. It was supposed to be football's safety net, the technology that would finally put an end to the what-if conversations that have tortured fans for generations. Instead, it has become the center of the biggest controversy surrounding a European final in recent memory. The goal that started it all. The match-winning goal for Tottenham didn't just secure them the trophy, it came from what officials now acknowledge was a key decision error. While the exact details of the mistake haven't been fully disclosed, the admission from the officiating body sends shockwaves through the football world. How does this happen in 2025? How does a system designed to provide clarity instead create confusion? These are the questions that Manchester United fans, and football supporters everywhere, are asking right now. The timing couldn't be more painful for United. Amorim described how his team lost control early in the match, conceded the goal, but then regrouped and dominated the remainder of the game. "The rest of the game we had clear chances to score," he explained, painting a picture of a team that fought back only to be denied by both poor finishing and, as it turns out, questionable officiating. A manager's perspective. Ruben Amorim's post-match interview reveals the mindset of a coach who believes his team deserved better. His tactical approach was clear: start strong, maintain control, and create chances. For the most part, his plan worked. "We started the first 5-7 minutes but lost a little control and suffered a goal," Amorim explained. "This early setback could have broken many teams, but United showed character. We started the second half quite well," the manager noted, highlighting his team's resilience. What's particularly interesting is Amorim's approach to making changes during the match. "When I felt we needed a different player, we put a different player," he said, dismissing the idea that substitutions should be made just for show. This pragmatic approach speaks to a manager who trusts his instincts and isn't swayed by outside pressure. But pragmatism and good tactics can only take you so far when the crucial decisions go against you. Tottenham's long-awaited moment. While Manchester United deals with the disappointment, it's important to acknowledge what this victory means for Tottenham Hotspur. The phrase, slaking their long major trophy thirst, perfectly captures the significance of this moment for a club that has often come close but fallen short. For Spurs fans, the controversy surrounding the victory might feel bittersweet. On one hand, they've finally broken their trophy drought. On the other hand, the VAR error admission threatens to overshadow their achievement. Will this victory be remembered for the football or the controversy? The truth is, Tottenham still had to execute on the pitch. They still had to score the goal, defend their lead, and see out the match. A refereeing error might have helped, but it didn't win the trophy for them single-handedly. The bigger picture, what this means for football. This controversy raises serious questions about the current state of officiating in football. If VAR can't get the big decisions right in the biggest matches, what's the point of having it at all? The system was introduced with such promise. Finally, referees would have the technology to review crucial decisions. Finally, that hand of God moments that had defined football history would become a thing of the past. Finally, fans could trust that the right team would win. Yet here we are, discussing a Europa League final that might have had a different outcome if the technology had worked as intended. The emotional toll. Think about what this means for the Manchester United players who gave everything in that final. Think about the fans who travelled to Bilbao, who spent their hard-earned money on tickets, hotels, and flights, only to watch their team lose to what officials now admit was an error. Football is an emotional game, and moments like these cut deep. Players' careers are defined by these big matches. For some United players, this might have been their best chance at European glory. For others, it might have been their last. The human cost of officiating errors extends far beyond the 90 minutes on the pitch. Learning from controversy. What can football learn from this situation? First, the transparency from the officiating body in admitting the error is commendable. Too often, controversial decisions are swept under the rug or defended despite clear evidence to the contrary. But admission isn't enough. The football community needs to see concrete steps taken to prevent similar situations in the future. How can VAR be improved? What additional training do officials need? What technology might help eliminate these errors? These are the conversations that need to happen in boardrooms across Europe. The fan's perspective. Perhaps most importantly, this controversy highlights the relationship between football and its supporters. Fans invest emotionally, financially, and personally in their teams. Manchester United executives hold face-to-face Liam Delap transfer talks. Manchester United executives have held face-to-face talks with Liam Delap and are advancing on a move for Matheus Cunha. Delap, 22, was given permission by Ipswich Town to travel to Manchester to get a first-hand sense of what a transfer to Old Trafford would entail. United have competition from several clubs, including Chelsea, and Delap is expected to enter meaningful discussions with all suitors before taking time to decide his move. Delap's £30 million, $40 million, release clause, activated by Ipswich relegation, has made him an appealing target after he scored 12 goals in his debut Premier League campaign. United are also progressing negotiations on Cunha, 25, and there is hope a deal can be struck for when the transfer window opens on June 1st. Talks have so far centered on Cunha's personal terms, with both parties working towards an agreement. United are yet to approach Wolves directly about payment terms on Cunha's £62.5 million release clause, but there is an expectation this stage would be a relative formality. Wolves are open to accepting installments. The agreement built into Cunha's contract outlines that the fee is to be paid in 3 installments, the first chunk on signing, then 2 equal shares over the next 2 years, but it remains to be seen if United try to negotiate more favourable terms. United have the finances to sign Delap and Cunha irrespective of how Wednesday's Europa League final against Tottenham Hotspur goes, where the winners will secure Champions League football for next season. Other options in the forward positions have been considered, including Brentford's Brian Buemo, Sporting CP's Victor Gyökeres, and Napoli's Victor Osimhen. Why Delap is so coveted? Analysis from senior data analyst Mark Carey, from May 6. Having scored 34% of Ipswich League goals, the 4th highest share of any player, Delap has often been tasked with generating his own chances with limited service from his teammates. In a counter-attacking Ipswich side, Delap's powerful, driving runs forward have been a theme of his season, as he has shouldered much of the attacking responsibility with a return of 10 non-penalty goals, at a rate of 1 in 3, for his efforts. Whether it is thumping finishes from range or delicate flicks at the near post, Delap is in a rush to get on the scoresheet. A desire to get forward is the bare minimum for a striker, but Delap is something of a throwback, an out-and-out striker who is desperate to stretch the opposition back line. This is highlighted in Delap's skill corner profile below, denoting his off-ball run types as a share of his total runs made. Runs ahead of the ball or in behind opposition defences take up a healthy amount of Delap's running real estate, with a large share of cross-receiver runs towards goal to receive a possible cross, showing a player who thrives at the sharp end of his side's attack. Manchester United are reported to have held direct talks with Ipswich Town striker Liam Delap, who is also a key transfer target for Chelsea. Delap has enjoyed an impressive individual Premier League campaign, racking up 12 goals in 36 games for an Ipswich side whose relegation saw a release clause of £30 million, $40.1 million, become active in his contract. Chelsea have been linked with Delap for the majority of the campaign, but United recently signalled their intent to rival the Blues by making him their top striker target for the summer transfer window, and the Athletic State talks have now been held over a possible switch to Old Trafford. Delap was reportedly granted permission by Ipswich to travel up to Manchester for face-to-face talks with United, with the 22-year-old keen to explore all his options before making a final decision. Indeed, Delap is expected to hold a meaningful talks with each of his suitors, including Chelsea, as he prepares to take the jump and switch clubs this summer. United want Delap to be part of an attacking rebuild which is expected to be spearheaded by the arrival of Wolverhampton Wanderers forward Matheus Cunha. Progress has been made in talks with the Brazil international, who is thought to be prioritising a move to Old Trafford over interest from elsewhere. An agreement over personal terms is not yet finalised but is moving in the right direction. Cunha is seen as an attacking midfielder by United manager Ruben Amorim, who has been impressed by the 25-year-old's performances in a similar 3-4-2-1 setup to the one which he has so far struggled to implement at Old Trafford. United are planning to trigger Cunha's release clause of £62.5 million, $83.5 million, once the transfer window opens on June 1st, and are understood to have the necessary finances to pursue deals for both Cunha and Delap regardless of whether they win Wednesday's Europa League final and qualify for the Champions League. Why Man United want Cunha for a number 10 role? Analysis by Manchester United correspondent Laurie Whitwell. Cunha's familiarity with that position behind the striker in a 3-4-2-1 formation enhances his appeal for United, who want adaptable players but also need new signings to hit the ground running. Cunha's record against United inevitably colours perceptions too. He terrorised Erik Ten Hag's side when running from midfield on the opening day of the 2023-24 season and, of course, scored direct from a corner past Andre Onana at Molino this term. Cunha's ball carrying is an important aspect to consider in an Amorim system. Usually, Amorim has a blend in his number 10s, one a creator, the other tasked with running beyond. Cunha could offer a bit of both, but his ability to go past opponents would add dynamism and, importantly, he can carry a scoring edge. There may be questions about temperament given his bans for reactions against Ipswich and Bournemouth, and his work off the ball at Wolves left some staff wanting more. But he has 12 and 15 Premier League goals in consecutive seasons, after getting 2 in 17 games while on loan for half a campaign, which is proof of his pedigree. Rasmus Højlund got 10 Premier League goals last term, but only 3 this year, while Alejandro Garnacho, who plays as the ball-carrying number 10 under Amorim, has 7 and 6. The summer window does not open for another 12 days, but major deals are already being working on and wrapped up across Europe. Reports out of Portugal claim that Arsenal have agreed a £59 million deal for Victor Gyökeres as Mikel Arteta finally lands his desired striker. Nico Williams could potentially follow, with Barcelona dropping out of that race. Another big development involves Florian Wirtz, who has been tipped to be the biggest mover this summer. Manchester City have bowed out of the race amid fears of the spiralling costs, which they believe could be in excess of £250 million, leaving Liverpool and Bayern Munich as his 2 most likely destinations. The Reds have already signed Jeremy Frimpong and are also working on a move for Milos Gyökeres. Elsewhere, Manchester United are expected to sign Matheus Cunha for £62.5 million and have held talks with Liam Delap, who is also a target for Chelsea and Tottenham. Bryan Mbeumo has also been tipped for a big money move, along with Eberechi, while Jurgen Klopp could be making a surprise return to management. The first part of the summer transfer window isn't open for another 12 days, but Premier League clubs aren't twiddling their thumbs. Man United remain in race to Victor Gyökeres, says Fabrizio Romano. In the ever-turning whirl of transfer rumours, Manchester United are keeping their foot firmly in the race for the coveted signature of striker Victor Gyökeres, even as rumours swirl about Arsenal closing in on the deal. This fascinating saga is illuminated by none other than transfer whisperer Fabrizio Romano. Earlier reports from Portuguese outlets had the Gunners fans already picturing Gyökeres donning the red and white, a substantial £58.9 million supposedly sealing the deal with Sporting Lisbon. This tidy sum fits snugly with Romano's estimate of around €65 million, a sum far from the steep €100 million release clause hanging over the talented Swede. Yet, in a twist worthy of a footballing thriller, Romano disclosed on his YouTube channel that Arsenal and Gyökeres are not yet signing on the dotted line. The chase remains wide open, with Manchester United still hot on the heels of the striker, drawing eager breaths alongside Arsenal in this thrilling pursuit. Directly tapping into Gyökeres' thoughts, Romano shares that United are as interested as ever in bringing the 26-year-old into their fold. This stokes the fires of hope for a possible reconnection between United's manager Erik ten Hag and Gyökeres, who once honed his skills under Ruben Amorim's watchful eye at Sporting. Man United are still there according to my information from Victor Gyökeres, Romano assures. Arsenal also have their eyes on him. Indeed, these two giants are leading the pack, though several clubs are sniffing around with interest. The grand stage of the Europa League final against Tottenham Hotspur in Bilbao could be the crucible that determines United's transfer power. Triumph here would not only adorn their trophy cabinet but also secure a much-coveted spot in the Champions League, bringing with it a financial windfall estimated at £100 million and making that red jersey even more appealing to top talent. With Champions League allure at stake, and Gyökeres itching to showcase his skills in Europe's grandest club competition, the pressure mounts. As the final whistle looms ever closer, fans and pundits alike will be glued to the action, knowing that victory could not just bring silverware but also strengthen United's hand in the Gyökeres sweepstakes. Man United handed Victor Gyökeres transfer bombshell as deal is agreed. Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Gyökeres has been heavily linked with a move to Manchester United due to his long-standing friendship with Ruben Amorim. Manchester United have been handed a transfer bombshell after Portuguese media reports suggested on Monday that they have lost the race for Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Gyökeres. The Swedish striker has been on the radar of United since November when Ineos poached his manager in Lisbon, Ruben Amorim. A clear problem for United this season has been their lack of goals, with both Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee missing as reliable threats. Gyökeres has bagged a whopping 96 goals for Sporting this season, and the fact he is familiar with the 3-4-2-1 system made it appear as though a transfer would be a match made in heaven for United. However, Arsenal have also been heavily linked with his services, having admired him for longer than the Reds. Like United, the Gunners have also struggled without a regular centre-forward presence at the top of the pitch. While their season has been more impressive than the Reds, Mikel Arteta's side are likely wanting to address that position as a priority. According to Portuguese newspaper O Jogo, that is exactly what they have done. Their front page leads with an image of Gyökeres celebrating after winning the Liga Portugal this weekend. One of the headlines next to his name reads, "Swede on his way to Arsenal." It is claimed that a £58.9 million agreement has been reached between Sporting and the Gunners, and it is only a matter of time before the transfer is made official. If true, United will be looking to reassess their options heading into the summer transfer window. Men Sport understands that Ipswich Town's Liam Delap is a top target for United this summer, thanks in part to his much lower release clause of £30 million. It is also believed that Delap's proven ability in the Premier League, as shown with 12 goals for relegated Ipswich, and his age are also seen as positives. Versatile forward Matheus Cunha is also seen as a top target for United and has a £62.5 million release clause in his Wolverhampton Wanderers contract. Man United still in hunt for Victor Gyökeres despite Arsenal rumours. Transfer drama heating up as Premier League giants battle for Sporting CP star. Have you ever wondered what goes on behind the scenes during those nail-biting transfer windows? Well, buckle up, football fans, because the race for one of Europe's hottest strikers is getting more intense by the day. According to trusted transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, Manchester United remain firmly in the race to sign Sporting CP's goal machine Viktor Gyökeres, despite growing whispers that Arsenal might be closing in on the Swedish star. Who is Viktor Gyökeres? For those who haven't been following his meteoric rise, Viktor Gyökeres has transformed into one of Europe's most feared forwards since joining Sporting CP from Coventry City. The Swedish international has been nothing short of sensational in Portugal, combining raw power, clinical finishing, and surprising technical ability for a striker of his physical presence. His goal-scoring record speaks for itself. After leaving the Championship, Gyökeres has proven he can perform at the highest level, terrorizing defenses in both domestic competitions and European fixtures. His ability to score with both feet, dominate in the air, and create chances for teammates makes him the complete modern striker that top clubs crave. What this means for Manchester United? Manchester United's continued interest in Gyökeres tells us a lot about their transfer strategy under their current management. The Red Devils have been missing a consistent goal threat since the departure of key strikers in recent seasons, and Gyökeres could be the answer to their prayers. But what would Gyökeres bring to Old Trafford that they don't currently have? For starters, his physical presence would give United a different dimension in attack. While they have talented forwards, none combine the strength, speed, and finishing ability that Gyökeres displays week in, week out at Sporting. His ability to hold up play would also benefit the quick wingers United deploy, potentially creating more space and opportunities in the final third. Additionally, his age profile fits perfectly with the club's reported recruitment strategy, signing players entering their prime years rather than established but aging stars. At his current trajectory, Gyökeres could lead United's line for years to come. The Arsenal factor. What makes this transfer saga particularly interesting is Arsenal's reported interest. The Gunners have been making steady progress under Mikel Arteta, and adding a striker of Gyökeres' caliber could be the final piece in their puzzle to challenge for the Premier League title. But can they beat United to his signature? Both clubs have significant pulling power, rich histories, and the financial muscle to make this deal happen. The question might come down to which project appeals more to the player himself. What Fabrizio Romano's update tells us. When Fabrizio Romano speaks about transfers, football fans listen. Is Emiliano Martinez heading to Manchester United? Transfer rumours heat up. Have you ever noticed how quickly the football world moves from one season to the next? The final whistle of one campaign barely echoes before transfer speculation takes centre stage. Today's hot topic, Emiliano Martinez potentially swapping the claret and blue of Aston Villa for Manchester United's famous red. A shocking twist in United's goalkeeper saga. Manchester United fans might be doing a double take right now. After spending significant money to bring Andre Onana to Old Trafford just last summer, reports from Argentina suggest the Red Devils are already looking for his replacement. And not just any replacement, they've set their sights on World Cup winning goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez. Let's take a moment to process this. Onana, brought in as David de Gea's successor, hasn't even completed a full season at United. Yet, if these reports are accurate, his position as United's number one could already be under serious threat. Why Martinez? Why now? What makes this potential move so intriguing is Martinez's status in world football. Since leaving Arsenal and joining Aston Villa, the Argentine goalkeeper has transformed into one of the Premier League's most reliable shot stoppers. His heroics during Argentina's World Cup triumph further cemented his reputation as a world-class goalkeeper who thrives under pressure. But why would United consider such a move now? Perhaps Erik Ten Hag or the new football leadership at Old Trafford isn't entirely convinced by Onana's performances. Or maybe they're simply pursuing an opportunity too good to pass up if Martinez is genuinely available. The emotional farewell? According to reports, Martinez recently appeared to wave an emotional goodbye to Villa supporters, hinting that his time at the Birmingham club might be coming to an end. After contributing significantly to Villa's remarkable season under Unai Emery, which saw them secure Champions League football, such a departure would certainly sting for Villa fans. Could United be providing the Argentine with his next challenge? Reports suggest Martinez has received firm offers from 2 top European clubs. United appears to be one, with Barcelona mentioned as another potential suitor. There's also reportedly interest from the Saudi Pro League, completing the trio of offers allegedly on the table. What would Martinez bring to Old Trafford? Martinez isn't just a goalkeeper, he's a psychological force between the posts. His penalty-saving prowess and ability to get into opponents' heads, as seen during the World Cup shootouts, give him an edge in one-on-one situations. Beyond shot-stopping, Martinez excels in distribution and commanding his area, attributes that modern top-level goalkeepers must possess. His leadership qualities and winning mentality could potentially benefit a Manchester United side that has struggled for consistency. The Onana situation. The elephant in the room remains Andre Onana. The Cameroonian goalkeeper arrived at United with high expectations following his impressive performances at Ajax and later Inter Milan. While his time at Old Trafford has had both highlights and lowlight, replacing him after just one season would raise serious questions about United's transfer strategy and long-term planning. How would Onana react to such a move? Would United look to sell him, or would they attempt to maintain both goalkeepers in the squad? The latter seems unlikely given the stature of both players and their expectations of being first choice. The wider transfer market context. This potential move doesn't exist in isolation. If Martinez leaves Villa, they'll need a replacement. If Onana leaves United, he'll need a new club. Barcelona's interest in Martinez also suggests they're looking for a new goalkeeper, possibly indicating movement for their current options. Football transfers often create domino effects across leagues, and a high-profile goalkeeper moving can trigger several subsequent deals. For fans of transfer drama, this situation has all the ingredients of a summer saga. What this means for Aston Villa. Villa's remarkable progress under Unai Emery has earned them a coveted Champions League spot. Losing a key figure like Martinez just as they prepare for Europe's elite competition would be a significant blow. However, the substantial transfer fee they could command might allow them to reinvest across multiple positions. The question Villa fans will be asking, is it better to keep a world-class goalkeeper who might want to leave, or cash in and strengthen the overall squad? There's no easy answer, especially with Champions League football on the horizon. The Barcelona factor. Manchester United isn't the only giant reportedly eyeing Martinez. Barcelona's interest adds another layer of complexity to the situation. The Catalan club still holds significant pull for South American players, and the chance to become Barcelona's number 1 might tempt Martinez. For United, this means potential competition in negotiations, which could drive up both the transfer fee and wage demands. If both clubs are serious about signing the Argentine, we could see a bidding war develop. The Saudi option. The third option reportedly available to Martinez comes from the Saudi Pro League. The financial package would likely dwarf anything European clubs could offer, but it would mean stepping away from elite European competition just as Villa has qualified for the Champions League. At 31 years old, Martinez is in his goalkeeping prime. Would he consider the Saudi option at this stage of his career, or does he have unfinished business in Europe's top competitions? What does Martinez want? Amidst all the speculation, the goalkeeper's own desires remain somewhat unclear. The reported emotional goodbye to Villa fans suggests he's open to a move, but where does his preference lie? Does he want another Premier League challenge with a club of United stature? Is the allure of Barcelona too strong to resist? Or is he tempted by the financial security a Saudi move could provide? These are questions only Martinez can answer, and his decision will shape the next chapter of his already fascinating career journey. United's transfer strategy under scrutiny. If United do pursue Martinez aggressively, it will raise questions about their overall transfer strategy. After years of seemingly disjointed recruitment, fans were hoping for more coherence under the new football leadership structure. Replacing a goalkeeper after just one season doesn't necessarily align with building a stable, long-term project. However, if the club genuinely believes Martinez represents a significant upgrade that can help them challenge for major honours, perhaps it's a ruthless but necessary decision. The European context. It's worth noting that both Manchester United and Barcelona, the two European clubs reportedly interested in Martinez, are in periods of transition. United are still rebuilding under Erik ten Hag, while Barcelona continues to navigate financial challenges while trying to return to Europe's elite. For either club, signing a goalkeeper of Martinez's caliber would represent a statement of intent. But can they provide the competitive environment and stability he currently enjoys at Villa? When might this move happen? With the transfer window not officially opening until later this summer, any move is still in the preliminary stages. However, clubs often lay groundwork for major transfers well in advance, especially when multiple parties are interested. Man United handed Victor Gyökeres transfer bombshell as deal is agreed, on his way. Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Gyökeres has been heavily linked with a move to Manchester United due to his long-standing friendship with Ruben Amorim. Manchester United have been handed a transfer bombshell after Portuguese media reports suggested on Monday that they have lost the race for Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Gyökeres. The Swedish striker has been on the radar of United since November when Ineos poached his manager in Lisbon, Ruben Amorim. A clear problem for United this season has been their lack of goals, with both Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee missing as reliable threats. Gyökeres has bagged a whopping 96 goals for Sporting this season, and the fact he is familiar with the 3-4-2-1 system made it appear as though a transfer would be a match made in heaven for United. However, Arsenal have also been heavily linked with his services, having admired him for longer than the Reds. Like United, the Gunners have also struggled without a regular centre-forward presence at the top of the pitch. While their season has been more impressive than the Reds, Mikel Arteta's side are likely wanting to address that position as a priority. According to Portuguese newspaper O Jogo, that is exactly what they have done. Their front page leads with an image of Gyökeres celebrating after winning the Liga Portugal this weekend. One of the headlines next to his name reads, "Swede on his way to Arsenal." It is claimed that a £58.9 million agreement has been reached between Sporting and the Gunners, and it is only a matter of time before the transfer is made official. If true, United will be looking to reassess their options heading into the summer transfer window. Mensport understands that Ipswich Town's Liam Delap is a top target for United this summer, thanks in part to his much lower release clause of £30 million. It is also believed that Delap's proven ability in the Premier League, as shown with 12 goals for relegated Ipswich, and his age are also seen as positives. Versatile forward Matheus Cunha is also seen as a top target for United and has a £62.5 million release clause in his Wolverhampton Wanderers contract. The build-up, and the nerves, have begun as Ruben Amorim's men make their final preparations for the season-defining Europa League final in Bilbao. Tottenham Hotspur stand between United and a place in next season's Champions League, which would be huge considering how poor this season has been. Matheus Cunha is said to be closing in on a move to United after a fine season at Wolves. Reports suggest the Brazilian is close to agreeing personal terms over a move to Old Trafford. A place in the Champions League next season would allow United to attract a better quality of player. Reports circulating around the club claim that one such target is Aston Villa goalkeeper Emi Martinez. The pantomime villain appeared to bid an emotional farewell to the home fans on Friday night after the victory over Spurs, and it is claimed United have put an offer down to the Argentine, along with Barcelona. Elsewhere, the hunt for Ryan Cherki's signature is likely to intensify with the League One season now done. It is thought the winger will be available for £19 million in the summer, which is considered a bargain after his output for Lyon this year. Meanwhile, the race for a striker will continue to gather pace as clubs across Europe try to add to their attack. Sporting's Victor Gyökeres continues to be linked with a move to the Premier League, but his final destination of Old Trafford or Arsenal's Emirates Stadium is yet to be decided. Why Ineos may want to avoid Gyökeres' transfer? While the news that Arsenal could be closing in on Gyökeres may be seen as disheartening, there are no guarantees that the move would pan out. His goals return is phenomenal, but his only experience of regular English football was with Coventry City in the Championship. We have seen countless times before that the switch from the second tier to the Premier League, and even from one country's top tier to another, can be too much to bridge. Delap on the other hand is unquestionably cheaper, and having performed in the Premier League for a relegation-bound side, there is every chance he could be a success in Manchester. Gyökeres transfer bombshell. An alternative option to Delap would be Ruben Amorim's former Sporting striker Victor Gyökeres. He scored his 53rd goal of the season on Saturday as the Lisbon club beat their city rivals Benfica to the Portuguese league title. In the aftermath, newspaper O Jogo has run with the story that the Swede is on his way to Arsenal. Like United, the Gunners have been long-term admirers of Gyökeres, and it is claimed a £58.9 million deal for the striker is all but agreed. Former Man United midfielder makes huge prediction for Liam Delap at Old Trafford. Liam Delap has been backed to not only impress but become the main man at Manchester United by former Red Devils midfielder Luke Chadwick. The Ipswich Town striker is expected to leave the Tractor Boys this summer after an impressive season in the top flight and with the club relegated back to the Championship. The 22-year-old has scored 12 goals in the Premier League despite Ipswich struggling for results and has attracted attention from a string of clubs. Delap also appears very affordable for most top-flight clubs as his release clause is set at just £30 million, making him a gamble that looks worth taking. You only have to look at the amount of goals he's scored in the Premier League, Chadwick told Suffolk News. He seems to, particularly a few months in, have grown in arrogance, in a good way. You see him at Old Trafford and he's shoving them all over the place and he's getting stuck into it. It feels like he's at a time now where he can go and play at a top club. Unfortunately, Man United isn't the top club at the moment, but I think bringing someone like that in would be brilliant for Man United. I think it would be a brilliant move for Delap as well. Obviously, Ipswich fans aren't going to want me to say that, but he's probably going to move on. You feel he could go to one of the top 4 clubs, but I don't know if he'd play consistently. I think he could go in at Man United and be the main man. The likes of Chelsea and Newcastle have also been linked with Delap, who will hope to make a move and earn himself a place in the England squad for next summer's World Cup. There is plenty of excitement around the young forward, but another former Manchester United midfielder urges some caution over his potential signing. Paul Scholes is also a fan of Delap, but does not see him alone as the answer to Manchester United's problems up front, saying the Red Devils would need more arrivals in attack and also a forward with more experience. I like Liam Delap, but he still needs 1 or 2 more strikers with him who have got some experience, Scholes told TNT Sports. We've been down this road with Rasmus Højlund coming in as a young striker, and it hasn't quite worked out so far. Again, Delap could be another young striker going to a big club, and you just don't know what to expect with the club not in a great place at the minute. I always say that Manchester United should have 3 or 4 top strikers. Right now, they've got one who hasn't really done it, so to sign Delap would be great, but he has to be part of 2 or 3 proper centre-forwards. Delap could play his last game for Ipswich on Sunday when they host West Ham on the final day of the Premier League season. Matheus Cunha transfer, Wolves forward set to join Man United at end of season. Wolves forward Matheus Cunha is set to join Man United at the end of the season. United are expected to trigger the £62.5 million release clause in his contract. Despite interest from other clubs, Cunha wants to play for United and SSN has been told the deal is almost agreed. Matheus Cunha is set to join Manchester United after the season ends this weekend. United are expected to trigger the £62.5 million release clause in his contract. The club are aware of the conditions for that clause to be met. There has been no direct contact yet between United and Wolves, but those formalities are anticipated once the season has closed. Despite interest from other clubs, Cunha wants to play for United, and Sky Sports News has been told the deal is almost agreed. Cunha thinks United are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and their current Premier League position, they are currently 2 places beneath Wolves in 16th, would not put him off a potential move to Old Trafford. 5 Premier League clubs, including United, wanted to sign Cunha this summer. Arsenal and Aston Villa were among the clubs that have held exploratory talks about signing the Brazil international this year. Saudi Pro League clubs were also now willing to trigger his release clause. The forward, signed from Atletico Madrid in 2022 for a fee of around £34 million, has registered 27 goals and 13 assists in 63 Premier League games. Speaking to Cunha at Wolves' training ground last summer, it was a chance to ask him how important it is for him to feel like he is having fun on the football pitch. "I do not want to go on the pitch and be a robot," he replied. "I want to enjoy it." Watch Cunha play and that approach to the game shines through. At times, he can appear to wander where he chooses, making decisions off the cuff. But those decisions are often thrilling. He is a maverick in a sport that feels more and more coached. In the context of Gary Neville's comments about the recent Manchester derby being boring and the subsequent reports linking United with a move for the Brazilian forward, it all makes Cunha one of the more intriguing transfer targets of the summer window. Why? Because on one level, Cunha makes perfect sense in one of those number 10 roles within Ruben Amorim's 3-4-3 system. He already plays there for Wolves. He can score goals but also create them for others. His £64 million release fee offers clarity for United. On the other hand, there are questions about his temperament, and while Cunha, who turns 26 in May, is at the right age to make the big move of his career, some will ask if he can adapt to the demands and deliver consistently within an organised pressing structure. Matheus Cunha sends 5-word message amid bombshell Man United transfer update. Latest Manchester United transfer news as Matheus Cunha breaks silence following reports that he is closing in on Wolves' exit. Matheus Cunha has posted to the social media for the first time since reports emerged that he was closing in on a move to Manchester United. The Brazil star is a summer target for United as they prioritise at least 3 additions as part of the latest rebuild under Ruben Amorim. Transfer journalist Fabrizio Romano delivered a significant update on Cunha's situation on Monday, reporting that the 25-year-old has accepted the project at Old Trafford and personal terms were being finalised. United's firepower has been lacking this season and it has proved to be detrimental to their campaign as they sit 16th in the Premier League table. Cunha has been instrumental for Wolverhampton Wanderers and has played such a pivotal role in keeping them in the division. They sit above Amorim's side in the table with 1 game remaining in the campaign. The former Atletico Madrid attacker has 15 goals in the Premier League so far, more than Joshua Zirkzee, Rasmus Højlund and Alejandro Garnacho combined. Speculation and reports have swirled around Cunha throughout the campaign, but in light of the recent rumours, it appears that he isn't fazed by the external noise. Enhancing their goal-scoring and threat up front has been prioritised with Cunha and Ipswich Town striker Liam Delap. Last month, the men reported that Cunha was hopeful of a transfer across the Premier League to United after the club identified him as their prime playmaker target. Speaking on the possibility of losing their star man, Wolves head coach Vitor Pereira admitted that he couldn't predict Cunha's future. "This is a crystal ball, looking into the future," he said in April. "I don't have this crystal ball. I cannot say that he will leave. He is with us, committed with us, and we are happy with him. He has a high-quality game, he is a special player. He is committed, with his teammates, to help the club do the best we can until the end of the season." Matheus Cunha's Manchester United move, what it means for both clubs. The big news from Old Trafford. Have you been keeping up with the latest football transfer buzz? If not, you might want to sit down for this one. Matheus Cunha, the talented Wolves forward, is reportedly set to trade the gold and black for the red of Manchester United once the season wraps up this weekend. This news has spread like wildfire among football fans, with many wondering what this means for both clubs going forward. The deal breakdown. Manchester United isn't wasting time or money when it comes to strengthening their squad. The club is expected to trigger Cunha's release clause, valued at an eye-watering £62.5 million. That's a significant investment, especially considering United's current standing in the Premier League table. What makes this transfer news even more interesting is that while no direct contact has happened between the two clubs yet, sources close to Sky Sports News suggest the deal is nearly wrapped up. The formalities are expected to be completed right after the final whistle of the season. Why Cunha wants United? You might be scratching your head, wondering why Cunha would leave Wolves for a team that's currently sitting 2 places below them in the league table. After all, Manchester United is currently in 16th place, while Wolves are performing better at 14th. That's not typically the direction players move in. But this is Manchester United we're talking about, one of the biggest football clubs on the planet. Despite their current struggles, the allure of playing at Old Trafford, with its rich history and global fan base, remains incredibly strong. For Cunha, the chance to be part of Manchester United's story, regardless of their current form, seems too good to pass up. Sources say Cunha views United as one of the world's biggest clubs, and their current Premier League position hasn't dampened his enthusiasm for a move to the theatre of dreams. This speaks volumes about the player's ambition and belief in United's long-term prospects. What Cunha brings to United. So what are Manchester United getting for their £62.5 million? Matheus Cunha brings flair, versatility, and an eye for goal to a United team that has struggled to find the back of the net consistently this season. The Brazilian forward has shown he can handle the physical demands of the Premier League during his time at Wolves. His technical ability and creative spark could be exactly what United needs to climb back up the table next season. Cunha's ability to play across the front line gives United's manager options in attack. Whether deployed as a central striker, a second forward, or even out wide, Cunha has the skills to make an impact. Ruben Amorim makes final decision on replacing Andre Onana at Man United. Martinez on the move? Man United's surprise bid for Villa's star goalkeeper. Has the curtain finally fallen on Emiliano Martinez's chapter at Villa Park? Recent developments suggest we might be witnessing the end of an era for Aston Villa's spectacular shot stopper. The emotional farewell? Friday night at Villa Park delivered more than just a crucial victory over Tottenham. It potentially marked the final home appearance of the man who has transformed Villa's defensive fortunes since 2020. As the final whistle blew, cameras caught Martinez with tears welling in his eyes, waving to the adoring Villa faithful, a gesture that spoke volumes. Were these the actions of a man preparing to say goodbye? Both Jamie Redknapp and Roy Keane seem convinced. What a signing he's been. Amazing player, great goalkeeper. What a shame it would be, but that looks like he's waving goodbye for sure, Redknapp observed during Sky Sports coverage. Keane added his characteristic straight-talking assessment, he's been a good character. Obviously some people like him, he can be annoying sometimes, some of his antics, but he's been a great signing and would be a big loss because it does look like he's saying his goodbyes. A goalkeeper in demand. Why would a player of Martinez's caliber consider leaving a club he's helped transform into Champions League contenders? The answer may lie in the reported interest from football giants. Manchester United have reportedly placed an offer for the Argentine international, while Barcelona are also keen to secure his services. At 32, Martinez finds himself at an interesting crossroads. Still in his prime years as a goalkeeper, many continue performing at elite levels well into their late 30s, yet with limited opportunities to secure one last major club move. Is this the right moment for the goalkeeper to embark on a new challenge? Martinez's remarkable journey. To appreciate what Martinez would bring to Manchester United or Barcelona, we need to understand his extraordinary development. Once a perennial loanee at Arsenal, Martinez waited patiently for his chance. When it finally came during Project Restart in 2020, he seized it with both gloved hands, putting in performances that made his subsequent £15 million transfer fee to Villa look like daylight robbery. Since arriving at Villa Park, his trajectory has been nothing short of meteoric. Becoming Villa's undisputed number one immediately. Establishing himself as Argentina's first-choice goalkeeper. Winning the 2022 World Cup with crucial saves, particularly in penalty shootouts. Adding the 2024 Copa America to his international trophy collection. Making history as the first goalkeeper to win the prestigious Yashin Trophy twice. Helping transform Villa from relegation candidates to Champions League qualifiers. Martinez embodies the modern goalkeeper, commanding his area, exceptional with his feet, and possessing an unrivaled ability to produce game-defining saves in the most pressurized moments. His penalty-saving prowess has become legendary, often accompanied by psychological tactics that, while controversial to some, have proven remarkably effective. Why Manchester United? The reported Manchester United interest makes strategic sense. Despite having talented options in Andre Onana and Altay Bayindir, neither has convinced the Old Trafford faithful of their long-term reliability. Martinez would bring a winning mentality and big game experience that aligns with United's traditional expectations. United's goalkeeping situation has remained somewhat unsettled since David de Gea's departure. Could Martinez be the solution they've been seeking? His proven Premier League experience removes the adaptation risk that sometimes accompanies international transfers. What makes the timing particularly intriguing is Villa's final day fixture, away at Old Trafford against Manchester United. Could Martinez be playing his final Villa game at the stadium that might become his new home? Football occasionally writes scripts this poetic. The Barcelona connection. Barcelona's interest adds another fascinating dimension. The Catalan giants have a strong tradition of featuring South American stars, and Martinez's ball-playing abilities would suit their stylistic requirements. Financial constraints at Barcelona might complicate their pursuit, potentially giving United the edge in negotiations. For Martinez, the emotional pull of Barcelona, a club with deep connections to Argentine football history through figures like Lionel Messi and Diego Maradona, could prove tempting. Would the opportunity to follow in this tradition sway his decision? What would Martinez mean for United? If Manchester United secure Martinez's signature, what exactly would they be getting? First and foremost, they'd acquire a goalkeeper with an elite mentality. Martinez has repeatedly demonstrated his ability to perform in high-pressure situations, whether facing penalties in World Cup shootouts or preserving crucial points for Villa in tight Premier League encounters. His distribution skills would offer United additional options in build-up play. More than just a shot stopper, Martinez possesses the technical ability to initiate attacks and find teammates in advantageous positions. Perhaps most importantly, Martinez brings leadership. His commanding presence organizes defenses and inspires confidence throughout the team. For a United side that has sometimes lacked vocal leaders, this attribute could prove invaluable. The Villa perspective. For Aston Villa fans, the prospect of losing Martinez represents a bittersweet development. His contributions have been instrumental in the club's remarkable rise under Unai Emery, but most supporters would recognize that players of his caliber sometimes outgrow even ambitious projects. The question becomes, what would adequate compensation look like? Given his importance to Villa, his international pedigree, and his remaining years at peak level, Villa would surely demand a substantial fee, potentially setting a new benchmark for goalkeeper transfers within the Premier League. The club's participation in next season's Champions League would typically strengthen their negotiating position, but if Martinez has indeed made his decision to depart, Villa might prefer securing maximum value to keeping an unsettled player. What makes Martinez special? What separates Martinez from other goalkeepers in world football? Several factors contribute to his unique profile. His journey breeds resilience. Unlike many elite goalkeepers who experienced early success, Martinez endured years of uncertainty, loan spells at clubs like Oxford United, Sheffield Wednesday, and Reading, never knowing if his Arsenal opportunity would materialise. This background created a goalkeeper who appreciates every moment and plays with constant determination to prove himself. Martinez also possesses remarkable psychological strength. His penalty shootout performances for Argentina showcased not just technical ability but mental warfare, using every legal tactic to unsettle opponents and gain advantage. This approach occasionally courts controversy but demonstrates his complete commitment to winning. His technical evolution merits attention too. Originally considered a traditional shot stopper, Martinez has developed into a complete modern goalkeeper capable of starting attacks and participating in build-up play, skills increasingly valued at elite clubs.